Welcome to the Way of Mastery Living Practices. The living practices are one of the greatest revelations for those who think they've studied or read the Way of Mastery, but have only read the Blue Book. After JM, the channel was completed with the channeling, the five main texts, which are the Jesuit letters, the Way of the Servant, and the trilogy, the Way of the Heart, the Way of Transformation, and the Way of Knowing. He was asked to step aside from administrative duties at what was the Shanti Cristo board at that time, and spend what would become a long period of time, nearly 20 years, developing another and in some ways deeper part of the Way of Mastery pathway. It's one of the four essential parts of the Way of Mastery, and it's called the living practices. Now, for me, I was under the understanding that the texts were what was primary, but over time, actually studying with JM and experiencing the living practices, I became absolutely convinced of the essential nature of the living practices. So this is a quick introductory page to them, help you know a little bit more about each of them, what their purposes are, and why they're each an essential part of the pathway. There are a lot of living practices, but the main ones are focused on here. And it's really about, it's shared, actually it links with the video, with the trilogy, because in the Way of Transformation, it actually says initiatory experiences will be given in time. Before too long, I think Joshua says. And at one point I was seeing all these things JM was developing, and I'm thinking, well, wait a second, are these the initiatory experiences that were being discussed in the Way of Transformation? He confirmed that they were. So an essential part of the practice of the Way of Mastery are the living practices. There's an inquiry practice named radical inquiry that grows out of the Aramaic teachings. In a sense, the Aramaic teachings are connected with the living practices, but they're a body of teachings on their own. This is also an introductory page for them. And out of the Aramaic Beatitudes specifically, there's a connection with the living practice of radical inquiry. Radical inquiry and love's breath, two of the most essential and powerful of the living practices that bring a wholeness to the experience of the Way of Mastery pathway that just isn't there without them. Thank you for listening.